Can you tell me what bringing the as means?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Live from the Bellagio in sunny Las Vegas, it's the CRM Players. Now, bringing the as, please welcome Brent Leary and Paul Greenberg.
I need a vacation. That's what I really need. But in the meantime, I'm Brent Leary, and this is not CRM Players. Good old StreamYard got me once again. Anyway, it is actually Friday, a little afternoon Eastern here on June the 20th. This is Small Biz Breakdown time. I know that is what we're doing here because it is Friday afternoon. That intro just completely threw me off. Anyway, let's get back into it here. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready to bring on Leland from Oregon. Hey, Leland.
Hey, Brent, do we need an intro like that? Live from Brent's studio, the Small Business Breakdown.
You know
featuring...
what? I deserve any. Go on, give it to me. I'll let everyone take a shot because that was really bad, except for John. I don't really. He always takes a shot anyway. All right, let's go with. She's a nice person, so she probably won't really take a shot at me because she is in lovely Medina. It's a brilliantly beautiful place from what I hear, and she's a brilliant and beautiful person. That would be Evelyn Taylor.
You are too kind. Summer has finally hit lovely Medina, Ohio, and I'm only going to say that Leland should definitely be doing the voiceover if you choose to make an intro to the show.
I thought you might have gone with the dulcet tones of Ramon Ray because you always talk about him. You know,
they should audition.
Ooh, an audition. Hey, what's going on, Ramon?
Hey, I'm here on screen. I didn't realize I was on screen. I'm like looking around. I thought it was the more handsome gentleman. But Leland, if Brent will allow, we can audition at towards the end of the show or after our other host comes on. We can audition and just do a 2-second little audition.
You do that. It sounds good to me.
Okay.
And last, and as I'd like to say, least, it is the cold one. Some call him the bold one. I like the old one. John Corduroy Slauson. What's up, man?
Best of the best.
You got your Janet Jackson shirt on, I see.
Janet.
Oh, look, even you're a Janet Jackson fan?
I'm a fan of all things 80s.
Me too. Well, not all. Most. 90%. 88% at the,
the perfect.
I round up.
This is Janet 90s, though, honey.
Yeah, that looks good though. She looks good.
It's the 90s.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Anyway, it's 2025, and I'll just apologize for that little snafu. The other show I do, CRM Players, we've been doing that show for 16 years, and we never had an intro before. And I started playing around with the what is it? Gemini VO, and that's what I used to create that little intro. And we kind of like it.
Wow, it's nice. Yeah,
and that is amazing. I love that.
It took me all of
3 minutes.
Well, no, because I had to go back and forth with the prompt.
Yeah, 17. 17.
Yeah. At 3 minutes at a time.
No more than 20 because we already had the little Vegas intro thing, so I put that on the back end. But I used the VO thing to come up with that. The two guys talking. That of course they had similar appearances to me and Paul, except that thing on my hat was not a Rams decal. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know what the hell that thing was, but he definitely looked like he was wearing a New York Yankees shirt, so that kind of looked nice.
But the VO3. I mean, that's more expensive, isn't it? Like,
so I'm doing a trial, and it's like I think it's $20 a month after the trial because they have like 3 levels. They got the free version.
Yeah, I tried it.
The Gemini Pro version, which is what I'm on. Then they have some kind of enterprise thing. Yeah. It's like really.
It's actually now inside of
the free one. Is it
Workspace?
Okay.
No, it's inside of not Claude. I keep wanting to say Claude.
Right?
Jen's?
No, it's inside of oh my god.
What?
Gemini Flow? What?
What's the thing you use to make images with all the time, or like
Oh, Midjourney.
flyers and stuff.
Canva?
Canva. It's inside of Canva now.
Oh, VO is
VO3.
Yes, VO3 is inside of Canva as of
Alright.
day before yesterday. Yesterday. Yeah.
So,
Oh,
John,
you
I
know
mean,
what? They're going to charge us more again.
That's what I was going to ask. They just-
No.
you
'Cause
really are, John, the AI expert, really up to date with all the new advanced technology, aren't you, John?
I'm not an expert. I am an enthusiast. Big difference.
I like that. Most people would have just took the
Yeah.
bait and said, "Oh yeah, I'm an expert. I know every damn thing." I like.
No.
This is what I'm going to give you a compliment on.
Wow.
You-
What?
I know. Stand
Whoa.
back, everybody.
Hold on.
Let me
Wow.
see if the thunder's going to start to clap. I give you a lot of credit because you do go in and do your research, and you also know the distinction between like an expert and an enthusiast, or somebody who really knows a lot about it, how to use it. But even the folks that create it sometimes shy away from saying they're an expert.
Right.
The folks that don't shy away from being an expert are as far away as being an expert as they are possibly able to be. And we know. I just shot you a link to something.
Oh,
we're not
gosh.
we're not gonna go
You
into
are
detail
so
about
wrong.
but we're not gonna go into detail on that. Anyway,
No.
Let's get into the show. And as I like to do usually, a lot of stuff has happened this week. We're kind of in a war of some sort, possibly, maybe, or we'll find out in 2 weeks. The Fed decided not to lower rates. Matter of fact, I have a little visual. I think I have a little visual of some of this stuff. Let me see if I can bring this up. Because come on, is that it? No.
But you shouldn't be doing that yourself, Brent. You don't have a producer like a guy or gal on the soundboard or something like doing this for you? Anyways.
Right.
What's a soundboard? No, I'm just kidding. All right. So what I decided to do is just go to YouTube and just put in a search for a U.S. economy. And these are the first 3 things that came up. How international students bring billions to the U.S. economy. So that speaks to the old immigration thing. And that's from PBS, which you would consider is pretty much down the line. On Fox Business, it says the U.S. economy is slowing. Guggenheim's Ann Walsh claims. Now, that's Fox Business saying that. That ain't, MSNBC or whatever. So we got international students bringing billions. We have the U.S. economy slowing on Fox. And then on CNBC, which also, along with Fox, is pretty much right of center. Fed Chair Powell, the U.S. economy is in solid shape. Now, I got to go to this next screen grab. I hope this is it. Yeah. So Jerome Powell says we're in pretty good shape. That's why we're not lowering interest rates right now. But they did say they foresee 2 interest rate cuts before the end of the year. And that got him called a dummy by our current president as a pressure tactics ignore. One thing you got to say about Jerome Powell, he don't care what that guy says. All the stuff he gets called, all the things he tries to do to the guy to put pressure on. The guy has his job is safe until next year. So he's what I think is doing what's best for the economy. All right. And then Trump calls for the equivalent of 10 Fed rate cuts. When's the last time we had 10 straight Fed rate cuts? We're talking like the early 90s or something, when like we were on the verge of not just a recession, but a depression. We're not on the verge of that. It doesn't feel like it. But let me turn to you, the august panel, and ask each of you, how are you feeling about this week? Leland, how are you feeling about this week?
Well, I mean, you shared one clip about, Fox saying that the economy is slowing, but then Jerome saying, "Oh no, the economy is doing great." So we're not going to cut the rates. And so I guess I would love to see a little bit more into like what is his reasoning why, because inflation rates have gone to nearly the lowest levels that they've ever seen. And so usually if the reason why you increase the interest rates is to help stave off inflation, and if our inflation is going down to low levels not seen in years, why not give a little bit of a reprieve to some of these banks, and allow them to reduce their rates to get more loans out there to be able to help bolster the economy a little bit more, since we're not in any dangers of inflations at the moment. That's what I think about when it comes to all of that, and I would love to hear a little bit more onto Powell's reasoning on why it's just no. And from what I've heard, he doesn't want to at all. He says, you said 2, but I'd also heard reports that he doesn't want to do it basically at all. He wants to just keep the rates right where they're at. And I'd like to hear a little bit more on his reasoning on that. And then, there's the war with Iran and Israel. That's scary. I mean, there are a lot of threats thrown out there, but it is kind of like a sit and see situation until something happens.
Let me add one more thing. I forgot to add one more thing that also happened this week, and get your take on that before we move on. Social Security might be running out sooner than we thought because of the, what do you call it, the big beautiful bill. If that thing passes, the CBO scored it as adding, with the changes that the Senate is making, is going to add an additional $2 trillion onto our debt. So I thought I'd throw that little tidbit out there. What do you think of that, in addition to kind of as part of all the stuff that happened this week?
Well, I've also heard reports that it's going to reduce the amount of money that, from other experts saying that it's going to reduce how much money we're going to be spending as well. $10 trillion over the next 10 years or something like $2 trillion. It's been a while since I heard that number, but so. But
the net is, we're going to owe more. We're going to have more, $2 trillion more debt as opposed to that. Even if we are lowering taxes, we're not, and lowering spending, we're not lowering it enough to make up for an additional $2 trillion in debt we're going to be in.
Yeah. I mean, you are going to be bringing in less money through taxes if you are reducing taxes. Of course, that's, taxes 101. But there have been seen in the past where when you reduce taxes, people spend more. When people spend more, there's more money flowing around, and that actually brings in more taxes.
Actually,
and actually grows the economy more.
Right now, people are not spending more; they're actually spending less because there's a lot of uncertainty. But I digress. All right, let me move on because I want to get everybody's taken here. Ivana.
What can I say? I am going to add a little bit to what Leland was saying about the Fed chair, like as if it's not confusing enough, right? So like his job, that's one thing I really do admire about typically whoever the Fed chair is. Maybe I should say I don't even qualify as an economics enthusiast. I would like to be, but there's really 2 numbers that go into that. One is, of course, the inflation rate, right? But the second one is unemployment. And I heard something really, really interesting that I did not know, and that I would definitely want to learn more about. I heard somebody talk about how they collect some of these numbers, such as unemployment. And like we've all learned about what employment is, or, what unemployment is, which is people like not looking for work, not working, not looking for work within a certain amount of time. But what I did not know is how they collect that number. And I heard that the way, and if somebody knows for sure, but this is what I've heard, is that it's actually done through phone calls, that they are calling people and saying, do you have someone in your house who's working or not working, or like going through these attributes? And a lot of people are not answering these phone calls. And so they just use the data from the last time, which is really concerning to me. So I'm just going to say something that will make Ramon and Leland probably fall off their chair, is that I would, just considering unemployment and inflation rate, just the numbers that we use, I'm like in full agreement. Do not mess with anything. But then seeing how we've been measuring some of these things, I'm getting really concerned about it, right? Meaning that the uncertainty and there's just too much uncertainty. And yet my solopreneur friends are enthusiastic. They continue. I was just looking up some numbers, continue to be enthusiastic and seeing the bright side of the economy, and more power to them.
That is interesting. When you think about it.
Who knew? Who knew?
All right, who wants to go next, John or Ramon?
John.
Because that's why Ramon wants the final answer, so I'm going with John. You're muted, by the way. Still muted.
I'm sorry. Okay. One of the things is I'm like, even though I'm not like really that great with this economy stuff, but U.S. consumer spending is showing signs of slowing. And, the one thing is that the front loading, people are buying toilet paper. That's what they did. They're stocking up on toilet paper. We know that there's something coming. So they spent a lot of money in preparation for whatever is about to come because of the tariffs. So I think we're feeling this hangover from that spending and acting as if the economy's okay. But you'll see it later. Believe me now, believe me later. But I mean, there's lagging indicators that are going to start showing up, and we'll be sitting here in 2 months and be like, what happened? It was all good. No, it was never good. It's just people started moving the money, front loading, buying things. And now here we're going to be in third quarter, back to school, fourth quarter, holidays. And all of a sudden, people are not going to be spending, and we'll know why. It'll be because of what we're talking about today.
All right. Before we go to Ramon, shout out to Jacob Topping, coming in with lots of good comments. U.S. is a debt-driven economy. That it is. There is a limit to how much debt the rest of the world wants to extend. It's problematic. Okay, that's a good thought. And our favorite, and with the full caps already, started already with the full caps. Blessings and a favor to you too, Amber. Thanks for joining us. All right, Ramon.
Yeah, Brent, my comments will be brief and short and possibly underwhelming. I am not the economic enthusiast, although, as you all know, I can pretend to be anything I wish to be. But 3 things I'll say. 1, I do like Jerome Powell. Again, not in this to the depth, etc. But I think somebody who reads from a teleprompter, telling his team, like he told a guy happy birthday or happy retirement, and the Jerome Powell was reading from it. That's my kind of guy, meaning in this position. If I'm an astronaut going into space, I like somebody who's slow and methodical. Check 1, seatbelt. Is your seatbelt done, Ramon? Check 2, press orange button. Did you press the orange button, Ramon? That's the kind of, person metaphorically Jerome Powell is. You need that in that position. So regardless of the politics, whether it's Trump, Biden, Obama, whoever you want, those guys are consummate politicians in whatever games anybody will play. So I like that. No ding on him. I'm not a financial expert, but his style, slow, methodical. I trust him for what it's worth. That's 1. Number 2, definitely this whole thing of fiat and all these things, as you brought up, John, Brent, the gentleman, Jacob. There's something to that. I don't know how long the runway is, but something's wrong. Debt, trillions and trillions. And we're blessed that we have a huge runway in America, right? We are a blessed country. We have a lot of runway, a lot of moving, what do you call it when the money moves, the gross domestic product. And got some time, but man, this can't go forever like this. Something's off. And then 3, the ebb and flow of the economy, right? Whether it's not Merrill Lynch, but the financial, the people born out with Thank you. Yeah, the people going out with boxes in Midtown Manhattan, the dot-com bust and real estate, all these things are going to happen. This is part of the ebb and flow of an economy. So those are my thoughts on it. But I think there's even a setup for me in my little small business. Listen, I look at it quarter to quarter, month to month, week to week. Do I have potential? Do I have relationships? I don't know how my grandchildren will be, but me and my kids will be okay.
Shout out to Cassandra Gray for joining us. I need this. I had to do a presentation for school in Canva.
Welcome, Cassandra. Thanks for being here.
Okay. I'll just toss a little thing out there about the Fed and the Fed's job. It is not to please any particular president.
Correct.
It is to look out for the U.S. economy, make it continue to shape it and make it grow, hopefully. GDP going up, inflation staying low, and inflation also staying low. And that's their whole job and responsibility. And all I see is a guy doing what he thinks he needs to.
That's right.
To handle that.
Mm-hmm.
And I see another guy who has a higher up position wanting him to do anything that makes it look like the economy is growing, whether it means it's growing. So, he could say it's growing faster than every president that ever did at the expense of high inflation and high unemployment. We don't seem to be, I don't want to call it that we're in the, what's that little girl, the just right economy, not too high, not too low.
Goldilocks.
The Goldilocks thing. You have these three levers you can pull, and the whole objective is to keep things, going in the right direction. So you use whatever you need or can to do that. And you shut out all the noise from all the people, even if it is the president of the United States. I appreciate that.
But here's something that impacts small businesses. And again, I apologize because I don't have the right words, and I'm going to say this the ugly way, right? Ooh.
John will get this really.
Okay, so there is this, let's say, GDP, right? And then I forget what the number is that takes this like GDP by the population. So you get this per capita thing. And there's a measure out there that takes different GDPs from different countries and compares that per capita to their actual income. Is anybody following me with what I'm saying?
Yep, gotcha.
So the name of the game, like, it's good if the difference between that per capita GDP and the actual average income of the average citizen, you want those to be fairly close together. Make sense? Yes. Here's where we curve off. We don't have that. Our GDP is ginormous, and the per capita, let's say for the per capita GDP, that like if you take the GDP divided by the population or whatever, that number is something like a lot. 60, like 70, 80, 90,000 per capita. Like, it's a big number. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a big number. But the actual earnings of the average American, the actual per capita average is like 63. So there's like a $30,000 gap, which speaks to what I call velocity of money. So this great high number GDP, which makes it look, this is why that if GDP is up, why are we so unhappy? We're so unhappy because the average consumer doesn't have that purchasing power. And if they don't have that purchasing power, that's going to make, can I just say, the marketing job for the small business owner like that much more difficult.
Well, let's add a little something to this. I think they call us, our economy, the envy of the world. And that's because we make a lot of stuff and sell it outside of our country. So we not only do we have people inside the country buying a lot, but a lot of people know that the economy here is number one, and they want to play in it. They want to invest in it. They want to buy land, and Japan did that in the 80s before they went belly up. Now they're on the way back up. But the whole idea is, there's a lot of money. There's a lot of wealth in this country. The unfortunate part is 99% of it is being held by the 1%ers, and all the rest of us peons get the rest of it. That's why some people love what's going on here. Elon Musk, he's worth what, 300 billion? That's like more than a lot of countries' GDP in the whole year. That's one guy in this one country has that much wealth. And they like when they put policies and things in place that allow them to not just keep that wealth, but to expand that wealth, while still 99% of us kind of take the scraps that fall at the table. So that's why there's a lot of people that are angry and upset about their individual economic situation. And then there's, others that are like, oh man, this is, I'm great. I'm
Hey,
good.
Brent, I hear you on this, Brent, and I think that, and again, what I like about this conversation, the five of us being here, and Shashi when he joins us, I think we are the average regular people. Yes, in a tech bubble, but beyond that, average regular people who are just spitballing and doing our best to make the sense of the world, which I like about this. But I think two things I'll add, Brent. One, when the what's the guy who's running for the mayor of New York City? Not Cuomo, but the other guy.
The one that got arrested the other day?
Yes. No,
I don't know what his name
the
is.
other guy, the third guy, who the AOC's friend.
The third, Orson Welles, the third man?
Who wants to have the government running CVS, running grocery stores. Point is, I'm sure y'all can Google him while I'm talking. I forgot his name. But point is that, do we want somebody like him, or let's AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, running the government on one hand, or do we want somebody, I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's no perfect equilibrium. Some people are saying, great, let's take the trillions and have free libraries, free car service, free bus service. Let's tax the rich even more, free daycare. That's money being spent. So take your pick, I guess what I'm trying to say, of how it is. And I don't know if anybody's going to be right, because the plebes like us will like it. I know many of my family, great, we get to go to the grocery store and free groceries for life for all of us. That might be damaging as well over time. So,
Well, they tried those.
Sorry,
they tried those things in Russia, Venezuela, and then you get the bread lines.
Going right to the communism and socialism.
But Leland, as you know, John and even his people, that's what they want to bring back. So I don't know.
Well, it worked for Adam and Eve. So,
man, we going way back now.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, on one side, we have this utopian, I'm so Christian and religious, and I want the world at peace and all that. And then you give the opportunity for people that don't have enough enough substance to be able to exist. And all we sit around and do is count the pennies in our damn pockets. I just don't get it. I mean, you can't have it. You can't have it both ways. You just can't have it both ways. You can't be a good person and then start going out there and tell everybody else, fend for yourself. Really? Is that where we are?
John,
I just don't get it.
John, I hear you, and I hear the pain in your heart, and the pain in your heart, sometimes it clouds your judgment, and I respect that, John. But my point being is that I don't think we can even have that distant. I can't even keep a straight face. We can't even have that equilibrium. What I'm trying to say, John, is you can't go. I hear your point. Since you brought up Christian, Jesus said the poor you'll always have with you. So I guess my point is, seriously speaking, what do we do? As one who
wasn't an excuse. That was not an excuse.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. No, it's not an excuse, John. But my point is, this goes back to this: will we ever, and how do we get into a perfect world? Is it possible? And in fairness,
there's not. No,
AI is going to do it for us, right?
You know what? Here's the real key too, and there's nothing in the universe perfect. Nothing. Our Earth itself warbles on its axis. It doesn't go around the sun perfectly. Nothing in the universe is perfect. There is no such thing as perfection. So I'll agree with you on that.
So have you guys heard of the
Leland,
Utopia?
don't spoil it, Leland, don't spoil it. Leland, John and I agree. Leland, be careful what you say next. Be careful. Go ahead, Leland. Tread carefully. I'm just messing with you. Say your piece, man. Say what you want.
So have you guys heard of the Utopia rat experiment that happened? This guy,
Kendrick Lamar's last song. Oh, sorry.
So this guy, he made a utopia for rats. He
Oh,
made
rats.
this
Oh, rats.
huge complex with a bunch of rats, put them in there, gave them food, no predators, no nothing. It's paradise. They don't have to want for anything. It's perfect. And within a couple of generations, you see the deterioration of society. And all of a sudden, at some
Rat
point,
society?
rat society, they're no longer breeding, they're grooming, there's a social
I think I heard
hierarchy.
about this. I think I heard
It,
about
and
this.
he
Yeah,
did
yeah.
it twice, and he got the same results. And so we as people, we need a little bit of struggle within our life. We need to be able to
Absolutely.
earn and obtain things. Either that, or we become,
Yeah.
you know, listless. You know, we're whispers in the wind. And I do see that sometimes with people. Like I have a lot of people that are on the poorer side, and they live off of basically every government assistance. They don't work, and their life is not great. Even though they have all the freedom in the world, their life isn't great.
Mhm.
I'm all for helping people when they're down, they're out. Let's give them food, let's give them medical attention, but let's get them onto a track where they could take care of themselves. And I've had friends who have been on social services where the social services make it very difficult to actually get off of social services. You know, they make
right.
it where it's like you have to use this doctor that's
Yeah. They
3 hours
give you just
away.
enough to stick, just
Yep.
to stick and stay.
And you know, even like medical coverage, it's like if you want to get off of medical coverage, you have to, once you hit like say a certain amount of money, all of a sudden you're kicked off completely, and now you are on the hook for $1,000, $1,500 worth of medical coverage per month. And it becomes very difficult to be like, well, I don't want to get that promotion, because if I get that promotion, all of a sudden I lose my medical coverage and I'm out $1,500 a month.
Yep.
And it
And
makes
so-
it hard for them to be an entrepreneur
That's right.
because they have to show up at certain places at certain times, and which goes completely against, like, let's say if you're doing landscaping, you're doing house cleaning, just like that bare bones off of welfare, like entrepreneurial business that you can start. I have found people, like when I was doing training for that they literally cannot, they're like, I can't schedule people on certain days because I have to like sit at this office, or I have to do these, jump through these hoops, to your point, Leland, you know. And I think my observation is that we can all get away from, one thing I love about this group is that we all sit in different spaces and have different experiences. And I think, and yet we are all friends and have been for decades. And so I think that most people are somewhere in between. No one is advocating for a utopia where
society.
nobody works, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's advocating
Right.
for that. And at the same time, I'm sure that you all are also not advocating for any other extreme, right? Because anything taken to its extreme becomes its opposite, and then it sort of goes full circle, right? So I think that what we advocate for, at least as small business enthusiasts in different areas, I love that's a word today, is that anyone, I think we can agree with this. If you work hard, right? If you grind it and hustle it and you work hard and you provide value to customers, right? Like those two things are met, and you should be successful.
No,
Right.
I disagree.
You don't think? Okay, go ahead.
No, but I could be wrong.
It may not happen for you, right? But I'm just
Yeah,
trying to
push
say
back and
people,
even.
people
free to
who
push
work
back.
hard, if you work hard, whether you have a full-time job or
Yeah.
whatever, but you are doing the work, right? Not laying on the couch,
I understand.
doing the work, then you should eat. Yeah.
Yeah, you should eat. Yeah, I thought you meant when you said successful. That's the only thing I think. I do
Oh
believe.
yeah. I mean,
the other
I'm
two
saying that
things for me-
I think to your point, Ramon, I think that people who work hard, whether they are an employee and work a full-time job, or whether they are an entrepreneur, and I'm not, actually, like, let's say you have a landscaping business or
Mhm.
like whatever your thing is, right? That if you were doing that work, then you should be able to afford housing and
See, even I don't see even yeah, I
you don't
don't.
think if you're doing the work?
Well, see, that's the challenge. See, that's the part that gets me. Let's take landscaping. It's a great commodity type business. You know, we all get that. But I guess I can imagine two people, one working really, really hard, but
Yeah.
even as you know, even still their pricing's off. Maybe
Mhm.
English challenged them. Maybe where they were doing it. Maybe it was all their church people who were, you know, so it's just where another person is like, oh, let me buy the other landscaping part. I'm gonna get a loan out, and they're the $1 billion. We're wondering, man. So I hear your point, but as I know, I think you'll,
Yeah.
you know, you see it even that hard work thing. There's a lot of people around us. Look at us here, right? We're all different levels. I mean, look at me, y'all four working, us five right here. I'm working hard, trying to do the best I can. I don't have no Dunkin' Donuts creamer. Now you look at the four of y'all are ballers. Leland, I see his headphones. He got the expensive headphones. Look at John got a Janet Jackson shirt. Brent has a brand new sports hat every day, and even has got those baller headphones. I don't got what y'all got. So my point is, we all working hard, but even in this show, we're all different. Back to you, Brent. Save us.
Save us.
I want to go back to like the whole point of this is what messages do we have for small businesses, right? How is a small business supposed to what are some things they can be doing,
Sure.
right? Given all of this, that's the key, right? It
like
is
it.
what it is. What should they be doing?
My vote
Tell
on-
us what should
Go ahead,
they be
Brent.
doing? No, I want to. So what do you think they should be doing? Even
Yeah.
About what?
to have a successful business, to be better off, I guess.
I mean, given all the circumstances, all the things that we're talking about, at least the people that I have been engaging with over the past few weeks are really, really doubling down on understanding their customers and their audience, working hard to understand what it is, what is that value that they provide. I think that when the economy gets tough, it gets harder. To your point, Ramon, which landscaper should you choose, right? Like the one
that's
who,
the key. There it goes,
right?
the difference. Then landscaper
I'm not,
A.
we're not in disagreement, right?
Right.
This is why I said earlier, I think I'm seeing from my very narrow lens, I'm seeing a lot of small business owners recognize how important messaging is, how important it is to know their business, to understand their customer, and to articulate the value that they provide so that they can get chosen, so that they can create proper pricing. And I think when the economy is doing well, see, I told you, Ramon, right here, I see you, my man, right? Because when the economy is going well, a lot of people are doing well. And maybe some like less than stellar practices seem to be okay.
Mhm.
But now that you have more and more people choosing, let's say, to become a solopreneur and not just being dumped into it, they're making choices to do that. Or you got to get sharper. At least that's just been
Mic
my
drop.
anecdotal experience over the last couple weeks.
Get sharper. That's the key right there. Get sharper. I love it.
anything to add, Leland? Looks like you're thinking there.
I'd say don't be afraid to pivot, because that's the big thing about the economy is that it's always changing, it's always moving, things are always being announced, new technologies. It's like, don't be afraid to pivot. If you've got yourself a lawn care business, think about maybe doing a water pressure or pressure washing business alongside of it to be able to supplement, or gutter cleaning or something like that to be able to augment your business. If you're what?
I'm just laughing at the comment with John with the Janet Jackson shirt on.
And Leland, in addition to the pivot, like I like what you're saying, Leland. I think this is where we're all gelling here together. And I wish we could argue more. I prefer to argue than agree. But point being is that I think you're right on this. This is where the pivot, right? This is where being smarter, not just working harder, but being smarter, and knowing that it's a bit of luck, a bit of thinking, a bit of, and that's why I think, even back to your point, I do think there are different types, as I've said many times, of small businesses. They're those that are just working hard, but they're always eking it out. They're always at the brink of failure, because they're not getting sharper. I'm using your words even, and what you're saying, Leland. They don't know how to pivot. They don't know pricing. They didn't read the top books that are just on over our shelves. Rocket Fuel, Eric Thomas's book, Like Switch, Seth Godin's This Is Marketing.
I'm
They
waiting
don't
for
know
John's
what it
book
is.
to come up in that list.
Oh yeah, no problem. We can do that. We can go there too. Oh yeah, there we go. Right there. Here we go. Yeah.
There, see, there it is.
So, anyways,
We're gelling enthusiastically.
yeah.
We're enthusiastic.
Y'all are really.
Shout out to RJ Martinez for joining us. Yeah, he had a
RJ!
Janet Jackson shirt on. Amber is saying, yes, adapting to change in a productive manner is very. All right, I'm gonna have to all this agreeing stuff, man.
Oh, he's gonna throw some.
Let's break out the
I don't think
guitar and
John- I don't
sing Kumbaya.
I'm not sure that John quite agrees with right, John. I'm kind of looking at your face.
I mean, it's great. It's cool. It's just nothing new.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's not these are core strategies you need to have, and a lot of business owners don't have them.
Correct.
That's why they go out of business,
Correct.
and they should.
And
Well,
Let's be honest
everybody
about some
can't
of this stuff.
survive.
Yeah, let's be honest. Some of these
Not
folks,
in Ramon's world. We
some
all
of these
can.
folks go into business because they got fired and they got to do something to make a living. They don't really want to. They would rather have a nice salary and time off and vacations and bennies. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And when they get laid off, they have to go into scramble mode and do what they.
I'm gonna give
feel
you one thing that nobody ever tells you.
What's that?
Okay, this is most business owners during times like this, slow economies, they go down in terms of they go to the lower tier. I want to encourage people to go up. So instead of starting to figure out how to get more lower price products,
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to get more higher price products, figure out how to start taking more market share on the higher tier as opposed to dumbing it all down so we can get more of the lower tier stuff.
Basically,
go
get
up.
sharper. Get sharper, John. You just told from even to get sharper.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I also
I
mean
know.
you're
I
gonna
like
have
what
to-
I agree with what he's saying completely. And what's going to happen to that end is the people who can afford to purchase at those prices, right? Here's the good news. The good news is it does not take that much. Perhaps just calling people back, showing up on time, doing what you said you were going to do, just like a couple small things, right? But at the same time, you will have to compete against people who have been selling to those people for a long time.
Is it safe to say anything?
Go ahead, throw your bomb.
Say it.
Okay. I'm just saying a lot of folks are not really wanting to be in a business. They think they have to because they got to do something to make some money. So
Yep.
they're not a lot of them are just look at the businesses biding time before they get a job with Benny so they can go back to the I don't want to say the easy life, but the life
Just
that they
stable
were
life.
having before. Yeah, what
Mhm.
they consider to be stable.
Consistent.
Mhm.
So a lot of these, I don't know what percentage of businesses are like that, but I'm gonna say it's a pretty significant amount. So when things happen, getting sharper, they don't really want to get sharper.
That's okay.
They just want to bide their time so they can get back to where they were. And that, I'm not saying that's good or bad or indifferent, but I think a lot of folks are in business because they got fired or laid off, and as soon as they get a good opportunity back in a corporate setting that they're comfortable with, they're out of there. It's guys like the five of us here and others that I can't even. The last corporate job I had was in the 90s or something like that, and I don't ever want to go back. And I'm comfortable with, I guess I kind of have a lifestyle business more than anything else. I'm not trying to grow or anything like that. But there's something to be said for folks who just want to get, do their thing. And what is that? The E-Myth, something about I have a good skill set. I have or as what does Liam Neeson say? Oh, there you go. I have a unique set of skills, something like that, which is great. They don't want to have to be a business to put their unique set of skills together. And so I don't know what percentage of that is, but I'm pretty sure it's a significant one. And that's fine if you have a small business that you're not trying to build, grow to a mid-size or enterprise. That's fine. But it seems like some people are saying they're mad and upset about their position, but they don't really do a lot to change that position. And maybe that's where the sharper thing comes in. But I don't even think they want to get sharper. I think they just want to get the end result without having to do any of that additional stuff. What do you say to those people?
That's 100% right, Brandon. Again, we all know people like that. I can, whether family or friends, whatever. And I think that goes back to, as John was saying, it's not me wanting winners and losers. That's just life. Take sports. A buddy of mine is a sports coach and all this. I'm sure we know all these stories. Some kids, my dad made me play. Some kids, I just want to get out of the house. Some kids, I just want. And there's the few. Oh, I'm going to dominate you, destroy you, and crush you. I have one goal to get not 1, 2, 3, 4 gold medals in the Olympics. That's just life.
I have
what are you saying, Brent? I'm sorry, Leland. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a niece. She at one point was like in the top hundreds in swimming. She couldn't give a darn. She would sometimes start swimming the wrong kind of race halfway through because she just didn't really care. There are also those kinds of people too. Like she has the skills. She could have gone, nationals. Didn't give a crap.
Yeah.
I think what I'm saying even is some of these people that are complaining and talking about they why am I not doing better or whatever that stuff. They know why they're not doing better.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yet and still they want to complain and talk about it.
Well, they was complaining before that too.
Yeah.
They just complain.
Yeah, they're just complainers, and you're going to have that everywhere, right? And I don't know. I guess I'm sort of like, I don't think we're talking to complainers. I don't think that's our audience here.
I don't think that's our audience.
Oh, it could be.
It could be. Anybody listen to us?
We complain.
First of all, why are you listening?
They need to,
Our
they need to get
audience-
checked.
Our audience is sharp and smart
And
Come on.
enthusiastic.
and enthusiastic and driven. So they're probably confused right now. They're like, why are you people talking
So
about?
you think Amber Donald is sharp? You think Amber Donald's sharp? That's what you think?
I know she's sharp.
Really?
Absolutely. She's sharpened us to listen to this, and then at 5 o'clock come back and listen to more. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
she's sharp.
Okay.
She's sharp. You don't think so?
No, I do think so, John. Don't get me in trouble, John.
Yeah,
Don't say that,
I'm
John.
just making sure.
Where are you going?
Yeah,
with
you
this?
guys like disagreeing with me? I'm like, we having a whole conversation
not.
about complainers.
John
Our
trying to throw a
audience is
grenade
like,
my
I don't know
way.
who you're
Oh, no.
talking to.
No, I think sometimes the complainers get the lion's share of the attention.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
the
do.
squeaky wheel.
Yeah, and because of that, we're constantly trying to answer their questions, and we already know what the answer is.
Well, the complainers will say, and this all, I mean, from the time that I was a young'un in my 20s in corporate or whatever, and I hear these people, it's the economy, it's the economy. I'm not selling because it's the economy.
Right.
And then you get inside their business and you're like, well, you ain't selling because your product stinks. You don't take care of your customers and all this stuff. There are lots of reasons, right? So whenever I hear people, sometimes that's why I have this feeling like we can talk about the economy and that's like all really good. And I don't want that to be an excuse for not doing your best.
Oh, that won't be the excuse. They'll already have tons of excuses before you even get to that, because that's all they are. They need excuses to fuel their lack of doing anything. Anyway, we spend enough time on these damn losers. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so RJ Martinez. Gosh, I wish I could say that right. RJ Martinez says something that is trending right now is a service, VO3. We even talked about this. You might have missed a little kerfluffle there earlier on, but all right. How are you seeing people really diving into this using AI to create videos? Are we seeing that? Is it
I
a
hope
thing?
not. I hope not.
We already saw the bad stuff.
You got 15 minutes. Use it. well.
Yes. In the bubble, though, in the bubble, people like us here. And I think, unless it's John, what do you think? You think it's hype? But the advertiser, what was the commercial with the insurance company, whatever that was?
Oh yeah, the
hype
big
of
right.
all. So
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's going to happen more and more. But yeah, I think people are doing it. But as you,
Yeah,
John, I use your example all
absolutely.
the time, John.
It's going to be like a pop-up, right? I think AI ads and stuff are going to be like freaking pop-ups. And we all know what those are like. Everyone hates them,
Oh,
but they work.
Yeah, good point.
You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
no,
It's
I
that
think-
annoying thing.
I don't know, man. I've been watching people talking about AI earlier. I saw this report that says AI makes children dumber or people dumber, and I'm like, only dumb people. Yeah, but here's the thing: what we're seeing right now is great, but 15 minutes from now, everybody's going to be able to do it.
That's right.
And so go deep into it and really learn the mechanics of what it takes to make a good video in terms of storytelling,
dude, that takes work.
building on characters,
It
you
takes
know,
work.
and all that kind of stuff. Because that's what's going to be the most important part. Because yes, right now that one guy took him about $2,000 worth of
Mhm.
video credits. It took him 2 weeks or 2 days, 2 days
Yep.
to make that commercial, right? Whatever that is, 6 months from now, cut that in half.
That's right.
And then 6 months from now, cut that in half again. That's where we're at.
Yeah, well, here's the issue with everything you just said. And the first thing you started off with is, I think you talked about, or you mentioned the word storytelling.
Yeah.
People don't want to spend no time to craft a real story these days. They either want ChatGPT to give it to them, just like they wanted ChatGPT to give me a paragraph on this and that, and so that they don't have to spend any time or effort actually crafting something anymore. This is going to be worse with video. We're going to see all bunch of junk because it's going to be so easy to just put a prompt together and have something show up, and people are going to be, oh, it's exciting. This is great. I did that. And all I have to say to that is, you did nothing. That's all. I'm just saying, I'll be the first one to say it. We're going to see we're going to be deluged with terrible videos, crazy stuff. We already got the damn babies out there. I saw another one. I saw like a whole deluge of new babies things. Babies with beards, cussing like a sailor. Is that
That's
what we
awesome.
need more of?
I need
Brent?
more babies cussing. Yes.
Hey, Brent.
We-
Hey, Brent, this is Small Business Breakdown. Brent, you're right. Listen, everybody. Hey,
I'm
we're
gonna
going to have a
break
quick break
down.
right now.
Sorry.
Everybody, so Brent can recover. Guys who are listening, it's okay, everybody. This is Brent. Brent, just take 10 seconds,
He's
brother. You'll
okay.
be all right.
It's okay.
All right.
But I do
We
want
need
to
a
say,
new show.
It
We
was,
need
that,
a new
it was
show.
that last baby cussing with the beard. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
that was just a little over the top.
Oh,
But another thing I
gosh.
A new show called Just Saying.
let's keep on keep a thought. Another thing you mentioned, Michael Gerber's book, to bring it back, is that this goes back to the different types of business. All of us here, meaning for me, I play with these tools, but as I'm building my perfect business, I mean, just talking faith, I'm not going to be doing all this with the tools. I'm hiring I'm going back to the traditional Upwork, Fiverr, some other country, whatever it is, because I'm wondering that I'm running my business. And so hence for me, they're all tools to use, but I'm not, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be doing no storytelling. I'm hiring Becky from Rwanda or Philippines or El Salvador to do it. End of story. Done.
A good storyteller.
Or I'll tell them the story. I'll tell them what I want. I'll provide the high level guidance, but meaning I'm saying about the tools and all that, a business owner.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, but most people
Absolutely.
won't
I mean,
even
if you
do
don't
that.
have the skills, I'm not going to turn into some great writer, some great storyteller.
And nor should we have to learn it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what a great story is, and you're able to relate that to somebody who can then wrap whatever you say into that. A lot of people don't even want
Right.
to take that amount of time to put that much effort in. And that's where I'm saying I think the majority of folks are like that, not like y'all,
Yeah.
but like that.
No, I agree. And I'll use one example. When I think about COVID, I think we're talking about something like this. When I did the Survive and Thrive Summit, got sponsorships from three of our big friends that many of us, work with and all that time. I think that's, for me, an example of what I'm talking about. That's where creativity will never stop. Yeah, AI could do all the tools and all this, but when stuff happens, if you're not dialed in and think, okay, what can I do? What relationships can I call? And I think that's eternally going to happen. The tool you use, how you do it, that, as John said, in
Yeah.
15 minutes is going to change. But I think as us leaders, as business owners, at least building the $800,000, $1 million, $2 million business that for Ramon raised at Little Empire, that's where I'm going at, being very simple, transparent. No, it's my thought process, my thinking. I just got to. I'll be in California for 2 months. As I told y'all, my daughter's going to give birth soon, and I'm making relationships there. AI can't stop me. The people who are saying yes to me to go to their offices, names we all know. I'm blessed. AI can never take that away from me. Please.
Here's the thing, man. If you know how to draw, and you can draw in pencil, like you're a pencil drawer, just because somebody else has colored pencils doesn't make their drawing better. See, and that's where we are with this AI thing. It's just it's going to amplify how lackluster your creativity actually is.
Well, if you're gonna rely so heavily on the crafting of your story to come from a LLM, a ChatGPT, or whatever, you're just gonna look and sound a lot like everybody else who's doing that as well. And there's millions upon millions of people doing that. Can you spot when something is just completely LLM written? It's not very hard to do it nowadays. They'd be using words, the same kind of words that nobody else used before until they started using them. It's so obvious. I think a lot of people need to really think about, if you can't tell the story, find somebody, like Ramon said, find somebody that can help you put it together. It'll be way better than just letting ChatGPT do. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, we're at the kind of close to the top of the hour. Final thoughts, Ramon.
Yeah, final thoughts is, listen, this is a great show. I appreciate y'all so much. And thank you to our audience for being here every week. Thanks for audience. Spread the word, share it, small business breakdown, what we're trying to do here. And thank you all for being here. So make a difference in the world and make an impact.
First of all, let's all say congratulations to Amber, her first grandchild. That is awesome. What's her name? Let us know what her name is. All right, John.
Right now, I would have this advice for small businesses: increase your marketing while competitors are cutting. So right now there's less competition out there. Consumer attention is still at its all high. So you want to stay top of mind when the economy recovers. We're just in a cycle. It'll get better. Hang in there. But if you can increase your marketing, definitely do that now and take some market share.
You know what that says? When others go low,
we go.
That leads us right to Leland. I know Leland can empathize with that. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so make sure that your place of business is very welcoming to customers in every way, shape, or form, including how it smells. Because I went into a gas station the other day. It smelled like rancid Pine Sol. It was bad.
I thought you were going to say something worse. But
the floors were sticky. I gagged after I left. I will never go back to that gas station ever again. It was horrible. It was an awful experience. And so when you have customers coming, make sure that your business, it's easy to get in, it smells nice, it's not cluttered, it's welcoming to your customers, or else you may not have customers.
So Leland, you don't like sticky bathroom floors is what I'm picking up.
I don't even like
they weren't sticky, they were slick.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to
even worse.
But I just say one more thing, Brent. If you wait a while, the slippery floors become sticky. That's why they didn't wait long enough.
Y'all.
All right, Ivana, you need to pull us out of this. We need a mic drop.
I don't know if this is a mic drop moment, but I'll let you guys decide. But I am going to kind of take your John's and Leland's marketing advice a little further, right? Double down. I'm going to say the same thing I've always said. Double down on your relationship marketing. But when it comes to building those know, like, and trust relationships, please, please, please do not be lazy with your messaging. Okay. I talked to a caterer the other day and she was like, and I said, well, what are you known for? And she's like, great food, setting up nice, and all this stuff. I'm like, girl, pick something. Pick one thing. That, like, do you do vegan food well? Do you show up on time? Do you give great leftovers? I mean, I don't know. Pick something. Pick that one thing. Do not be lazy. And if you are not sure of what to pick, talk to your customers and say, hey, why did you choose me? What was it about me that made me the ideal choice for you? Please do not be lazy, because to summarize all the tips today, that's what's going to make you stand out and grab that market share.
You know what? They need to become a messaging enthusiast. I think that would be a really good thing to do.
And it takes practice. Yeah, what's the other thing? People were like, well, I'm not really clear about this, and I'm just, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, practice. Because that person's body language is going to tell you. If their face is looking like, that's not a good message. Try again.
You know, even though you should record the way you just said practice, you should record it and then send it out to people. Practice. I mean, that was pretty, that was pretty effective.
Yeah, sorry. I sounded like what we would say in Serbian, the tetka tetka, is like that old lady. It's like,
the tetka tetka. All right. I'll never be able to say that again. But all right. This is a despite the way it started with my snafu, everything came together. It was a great conversation as usual. We will be back next Friday the 27th. Nothing special about that date, but it is Friday. And that means Small Biz Breakdown. So we will see you next week. Have a great weekend.
Peace.